The Metta World Peace connection, we actually played high school basketball together. So we are childhood friends. My junior year of high school, because we also had God Sham God, like we were number 3 in the country. So we were like 18-0. And he said he's not washing his uniform until we lose. So his uniform used to smell terrible, like onions, garlic. So nobody wanted to guard him. No player even wanted to get near him. So he didn't wash his uniform. We started off 24-0. So he didn't wash his uniform for like 3 months. And it was terrible. He was only a sophomore at the time. It was terrible.
Nobody can drag me down. Nobody can drag me down.
Welcome to Cold Call TV, where we inquire to inspire. Today, we have a very special guest, Heddrick McBride. He is owner and publisher of McBride Collection of Stories. And he's also hails from Queens, New York. Welcome to the show, Heddrick. So glad to have you on.
Peace. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So in 2012, Heddrick self-published his first book, Parkville High, which focused on young people who have developmental disabilities. And some of his most recent books have focused on current topics like, why do Black Lives Matter? Nice job, son. Yes, we have a few of our favorites here that we've been reading. And since you launched McBride Stories, you are on pace, my understanding, to publish your 100th book next year, 2022, which will also be your 10-year anniversary. Is that correct?
We are actually on pace to publish book 100 next month.
Oh, next month.
I'm partnering with Nori and EFN. We're doing a book called Kids Champs. So it's celebrating kids around the country that's doing big things. So that'll probably drop next month. Because I'm from Lefrak City, so I grew up with Nori since first grade. It's funny to see him so successful because he's the same person he was at like 7 years old. Like when we were like in the first grade, he would be hanging out with like teenagers. We were like 7. And he would be with the old guys. Like if you hear his old songs, like it's true. it's true.
And another important fact about Heddrick, he is a proud graduate of the Morgan State University. Let's go Bears.
I like that Morgan State shirt.
See, it's a basketball jersey, you know. What number were you, Heddrick, when you played at Morgan?
I was number 23.
Ooh.
A lot of pressure on that number. I played point guard and shooting guard. When I play with my students, like at recess, and they see I still got skills, they used to call me Uncle Drew because they just think I'm 100 years old. So they like, he's so fast, he can still move. I'm like, yeah, I can still move a little bit.
We have a special segment of the show we call Maven's Moment.
Maven's Moment.
What made you want to start writing books?
As a parent, I used to read books to my daughter every night. And it was hard to find books that had characters that looked like she did, that looked like me, looked like her family and friends, that told stories that she would experience in her life. So I decided to write my own books to tell our story so our kids can grow up with books that reflect their lives.
Who was your idol?
My idol was my dad. I know it sounds old-fashioned to say that, but it was my dad. We have the same name. He taught me how to play basketball. He taught me how to write poetry. He taught me how to do math. He taught me how to treat people. So even to this day, my dad is still my idol.
Other than writing books, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yes, I am still young, so I appreciate that question. I would like to be similar how Dr. Seuss gets celebrated, how Walt Disney gets celebrated, where we turn these stories into cartoons, into movies, into merchandise. So I want to take it a step further than just books.
You want to thank Heddrick for answering your questions? You want to say thank you for joining Maven's Moment?
Thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me. He asked some great questions and you are honest. That's the best thing about working with kids. They're honest.
They are honest. Yes, they are.
Sometimes.
Maven's Moments.
As a wife, I gotta know, what was Danielle's reaction when you told her that you wanted to write children's books?
She was encouraging. She didn't know it was gonna go as far as it did, of course, because it just seemed like, okay, that's something you want to do, I'll support you. But it's years and years, and just for fellow advice for entrepreneurs, business does not just boom overnight. So in order to be a wife, she had to support me through ups and downs. A lot of money was invested into the company. So it took years to make it back. So you have to have somebody that has your back. So she definitely supports.
What advice you have for aspiring, minority-owned business owners to stay motivated and keep going after their goals?
I would say time management is key, because most of us, when we start our entrepreneurial journey, you still have a job. Because at the end of the day, bills still need to get paid before your vision comes to fruition. So if you have a full-time job, you still have to make time for your business. So time management is key. The Metta World Peace connection, we are childhood friends. And as an NBA player, he was looking for different ways to give back to the community. So I approached him with the idea of children's books, and he's big on giving back to the kids. So that was my easiest partnership, because we knew each other. We did a book called Metta's Journey to China. When he played ball in China, we did a book about him being in China, the Panda's Friend. He had a nickname, the Panda's Friend, talking about world peace. He did a book on African American Museum. Metta, Let's Meet the Police. That book was on Bill O'Reilly's show. He did a Father's Day book. Like he just comes straight from the heart. So whatever he's feeling, if it feels good, he's like, let's just do it. Let's just do it. We had a book signing at Barnes & Noble in Manhattan, Tribeca, when he came to the Knicks. And we had all of these people came, and he was like, I can't believe all these people are here for me. And I'm like, yeah, you an NBA player. You won the championship with the Lakers. He was just like, I can't believe it. But he's still humble. That's what I always think about with him. The second one was Yandy Smith. She's a social media celebrity from Love and Hip Hop. Also knew her from high school. So these were like warm leads. But working with celebrities is not easy, because they have management teams, lawyers, publicists. So it takes months to even get to these people. It takes months to get to them. Amara La Negra was just me reaching out via social media, and her manager got back to me. So that's the good sides of social media. You can actually reach people, because their management team's job is to find opportunities for them. So if you reach out with a reasonable proposal, they're gonna at least research you. So by having that background of working with celebrities, I'm starting to become the go-to person for celebrities, and it helps with marketing. So this is another business 101. If you have these people with the huge following, it's like free advertisement, free commercial. Pretty much with the partnerships, I interview the person, we have a regular conversation, and I come up with an outline of questions. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want your characters to be like? Give me just as specific as possible. And then from their information, I'm able to assess what we need to do. So it's like a little formula I have. And if it's my own book, I like to look at current topics or things that's going on in society that are not usually depicted in books, children's books. So I partnered with my daughter. She wrote a children's cookbook for kids with allergies, because she has allergies. So she wanted to create solutions. Instead of a kid just saying, I can't eat that, let's find a different ingredient where you can still have that dish. So we try to solve problems. A lot of people have stories that they've been sitting on for years and they don't know what to do with it. And it's like, you have to have your editing, you have to have your formatting, just little technical things, but they can be done. The internet, Google can be your best friend. So if you really sit down and write questions down and Google them, you can find the answers. You can definitely find the answers.
Are there a top 3 or a top book that you sort of like gravitate to the most, or that you're most proud of?
Parkville being the first book, Parkville High. And at the time I worked in a population with people with disabilities. So as seeing it firsthand, I realized that they're just like everyone else. So when we go out into the community, people looking at them weird and treating them differently, but they all like to laugh, they like to love. So That was my favorite book, Parkville. That will definitely be a movie at some point.
And what about I Know My Rights? I know you said it was one of your first bestsellers.
So a lot of our prisons are filled with people that don't know their rights, where they probably could have avoided being arrested if they knew. So we like to be proactive. So we spread these books, schools buy them by the thousands, community groups buy them for their students, just to give them a head start, just to have that discussion.
You know, why I'm so inspired by you is just that you're so ahead of your, I say ahead of your time, where these topics, we know they exist, but you've written these books before it's become surface for mainstream media to even start focusing on. Your books were already there to help our community educate ourselves. Like you say, you want to educate people and motivate them through the books that you're writing, and inform them.
You've been a supporter since day one. When they say they're day one people, you are a day one. Your name is in Parkville High. Thank you. So you've been a day one supporter, and we appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
Nobody can drag me down. Nobody can drag me down. Nobody can